This week, Conflict Zone is in Warsaw to meet with Polish Foreign Minister Witold Waszczykowski. He's part of the Conservative Law and Justice Party, which critics say is dismantling democracy at home and isolating Poland abroad. Can Warsaw really afford to offend so many of its partners? Witold Waszczykowski, welcome to Conflict Zone. I'd like to begin with a comment from Russian Prime Minister Dmitry Medvedev. He says, we are entering into a new Cold War. So how great is your sense that you live in a dangerous neighborhood?
Thank you very much for the invitation. I don't feel we are starting a new Cold War. I think that Russia is trying to change the situation in Europe, or maybe also outside of Europe. It's trying to rewrite and rebuild the security architecture. It's trying to be more influential.
In which direction?
In all directions. In a very ambitious plan of Russians, they would like to come back to the position of a Soviet Union vis-à-vis United States. But this is not very likely to be implemented, this kind of plan. So in a less ambitious way, they try to create a world which is ruled by a group of leading countries. Something which used to have, we used to have in 19th century as a concert of powers.
But do you believe that there could really be a Russian military provocation? Are you afraid that Poland could be the next Ukraine?
Well, we have to use the experience of the other countries. There was a Russian provocation against Georgia. There was an open conflict with, and there is still open conflict with Ukraine. There is Russian engagement in a Syria war, domestic war.
So do you believe this can happen also to Poland?
Well, if we look at the military activity of Russian planes, submarines around Baltic Sea, around straits, Turkish straits, definitely they are doing this for some kind of a purpose.
Do you feel concretely endangered by Russia?
Well, for several years we were threatened openly by Russian generals that they will deploy military staff in Kaliningrad region and they will target all targets in Poland. They were also exercising together with Belarus in 2009, 2013.
We are 2016.
Military maneuver.
2016, today.
2009 and 2013, 3
years ago. But today, how is your feeling
3 years
about
ago,
today?
they were exercising together with Belarus maneuvers, and part of this exercise was a nuclear strike against Warsaw, against Poland. So we have to be cautious. We have to be wise before the event. Not afterward.
What does it mean if a foreign minister from Poland is saying we have to be cautious?
That's what foreign minister is supposed to say. That because the country like Poland is so badly experienced by the history, by wars, that we have to be cautious.
Yes, but your NATO partners have so far resisted putting Western forces permanently in Eastern Europe. Your government clearly wants greater security guarantees. What happens if you don't get them?
We don't want to have, and we do not ask for greater security. We just want to have an equal status of security for all NATO allies. The life of Poles is as precious as the life of Italians, Greeks and others. And we think that the only answer to the lack of security of the eastern flank is the deployment, permanent deployment of NATO troops here. It doesn't have to be large quantity. It has to be enough just to show, just to provide the token, just to provide a symbolic determination that this part of territory of the eastern flank will be defended.
Yes, but in less than 100 days there will be a NATO summit here in Warsaw, here in Poland, and your partners like the Germans, like the French, even the Americans are saying we will do a lot of compromises, but we will not bring troops to Poland.
Quite opposite. Washington decided just a few weeks ago to deploy heavy armored brigade on the territory of Poland. And they are not calling this as a permanent deployment, they are calling this as a persistent or forward deployment or whatever. There are lots of euphemisms used, but definitely there will be a deployment of NATO troops on the territory of Eastern
There's
flank.
something, Mr. Foreign Minister, I don't understand, with all due respect. I understand that in these political times, a country like yours wants to feel secure.
That's right.
Concretely and now. But you are a member of NATO, and Article 5 protects you in any time of crisis. Don't you trust Article 5, or don't you trust your partners?
Article 5, this is a mechanism of supporting member states, but does not have automatic values. There is no automatic mechanism in this. So we prefer right now to be secured not by the pledge of support in case of the troubles, but by deployment of troops to deter any kind of troubles, any kind of incidents. It's much better to deter than to support us by assisting, but it's better to, as I said, deter than reconquer.
But from the Russian perspective, it could also look like that this is a provocation.
Who created this kind of imbalanced situation?
Till now, the Russians are not on the borders aggressing Poland.
They are on the borders.
But they are not aggressing Poland.
They have troops in Kaliningrad region. They have a huge armada on the Baltic Sea. They are attacking Ukraine right now. They have thousands of troops in Donbas and Crimea. So they are very close, and they are openly, even during the Munich Security Conference a couple of months ago, Mr. Lavrov and Mr. Medvedev openly claim that security architecture of Europe is supposed to be changed.
The latest development is that NATO has decided to reactivate the NATO-Russia Council. Has Poland agreed to reactivate the relationship in this way?
Yes, and during the first proposal, which happened last year during the meeting of NATO ministers, I supported Frank-Walter Steinmeier's idea to recreate this meeting. I think we have to keep a dialogue with Russians and tell them that the behavior is wrong, the Russian behavior is wrong. One of the main points of the agenda of this meeting supposed to be discussion of Russian-Ukrainian conflict.
Okay, let's talk about refugees. Poland has been very reluctant to take in refugees, and you've come under a lot of criticism. Could you explain to me what exactly is the Polish government's position in this issue?
I will, if you give me a chance, because we are talking about two groups of people, about refugees and migrants. And majority of them who manage to come to Europe are migrants. And we are referring to these people, migrants, that we are not able to provide them shelter in Poland because the labor market does not have opportunity to give them such an opportunity to work in Poland.
Okay, so let's concentrate ourselves on refugees.
We will respect international law, and those who qualified as refugees they have a right. They have a right to apply for asylum here in Poland.
This sounds really good, but it seems like the true reasons for not wanting to take in any refugees are very irrational. For instance, the leader of your party, Kaczynski, said, there are already signs of the emergence of diseases that are highly dangerous and have not been seen in Europe for a long time. Diseases?
There are, of course.
Of course.
Yeah, well,
there are any epidemics in Europe since refugees are coming in?
But there are problems, of course. There are a number of problems. Our position is quite open, frank, and transparent. We may accept refugees if they qualify to be refugees, if they provide identity documents and they are not threatening our security. And this relocation is on voluntary basis.
I understood. Mr. Kaczynski went on. Cholera on the Greek islands, dysentery in Vienna. There is also talk about other, even more severe diseases. Here again, diseases.
Apparently there are.
What does it mean they are? I mean, Polish people are not sick? German people?
It happens also in
so
Poland.
Why Mr. Kaczynski is pointing out diseases?
Migration and refugee is a policy, and each country has a right to work according to the policy of migration and refugee. It's a policy in the United States, in Canada, in Australia, everywhere. And also Poland has a policy for migrants and for the refugees.
I understood.
Well, as I said, we are not able to accept migrants because we do not have a place on the job market. We already accepted and issued about 900,000 visas for Ukrainians and more than 400,000 visas for Belarusians.
Former Minister, I understood. What I didn't understand is why Mr. Kaczynski is speaking about diseases. The World Health Organization has come out and disagreed with Mr. Kaczynski. Critics are saying he's fostering hate and fanning the flames of racism.
That's a wrong assumption. First, that's a wrong assumption. That was an expression used in the political debate in the parliament.
But he said things like that.
But you
it's
are
not
talking,
an invention.
You are talking to the Minister of Foreign Affairs.
Yes, but he's your party leader.
So if you would like to understand...
You disagree with your party leader?
If you like to understand and get impressions directly about the meaning, you're supposed to go to
I will
Mr.
ask you about the meaning of a quote of Mr. Kaczynski,
he will
who is your party leader.
And I'm responsible for foreign policy.
So you disagree with Mr. Kaczynski?
Of course
about
not.
Diseases?
Of course not.
Of course not. So let's talk together about diseases. Why the word disease and diseases are connected to the question of refugees.
There was, as I said, discussion in the debate, in the political debate in the parliament. I'm responsible for the foreign policy of my country, and I have to take a larger picture. And I have to take also, as I said to you, that we will respect international law, and those people who can qualify to apply for political asylum, they will be respected, and we will try to consider them.
Your party presents Poland as a nation built on Christian values. Now, Jesus himself was a refugee, and one of Christianity's basic principle is to open doors to those who need. So why are you not following that Christian principle?
We follow. Once again, I will tell you, we issued visa for more than 900,000 Ukrainians, and last year...
How many Syrians?
And for 400,000 Belarusians.
How many Syrians?
Probably none. Because they do not apply. Maybe a few hundreds.
They applied, and you said an individual who arrives in Poland must demonstrate that he or she can integrate in our culture and society. Therefore, we can place greater hopes that Christian refugees have more potential to assimilate. What you are saying is that you prefer Christian refugees.
It's natural. It's better to have people sharing the same values, sharing the same culture. That's natural. As I said, immigration policy and refugee policy is a policy of the state.
So, if I understood, Christian, yes, Muslims, no. But Article 21 of the Charter of Fundamental Rights of the EU reads, discrimination based on any ground, such as religion, has to be prohibited. Once again, the impression that your government does not want Muslims in Poland. Why don't you say this loud?
No, we cannot say this because this is not our opinion. This is an opinion created maybe somewhere in Germany about Poles.
Okay.
Because
why in Germany?
Or maybe some other countries.
Why in other countries? Why there are no countries who understand your position?
Could you give me a chance to answer? Could you give me a chance?
Even two?
Yeah. Because I haven't said any word like Muslim, like Islam.
That's right.
Yeah.
You're going to say that.
Because I'm not trying to tell you that we are going to separate and segregate people. I said once again, and I repeat third or fourth time, will respect international law, and those people who qualify to be refugees will be concerned and will be monitored by us and, of course, respected as an applicant.
I want to understand, 40 million Poles. I think in your country 25,000 Muslims are living. Why are you so afraid about Muslim? It's not an invasion.
I don't see any inclination of thousands of Muslims to go to Poland. So your combination of thinking about Poles as anti-Muslim is absolutely wrong. Bizarre. The questions
you give an answer.
The questions are enough provocative to show to the public that we are afraid of Muslims. We are not afraid of Muslims.
I believe in the public. Let us talk about another controversial topic in Poland, the rights of homosexuals. Let's start with your personal view. Do you think homosexuality is normal or abnormal?
As a Minister of Foreign Affairs, I'm not discussing.
You're a politician.
I'm supposed to discuss the right of homosexuals.
You don't want to?
On. No.
Okay,
this is not on the agenda of the Minister of Foreign Affairs. Absolutely.
It's also the agenda of your party.
But not as a Minister of Foreign Affairs.
Do you agree the view of your party leader, Kaczynski?
I don't have to discuss these issues as a Minister of Foreign Affairs, because this is not my prerogative.
You are also a party member, and your former president and founder of your party, Lech Kaczynski, attacked what he called the homosexual culture and suggested widespread homosexuality would lead to the end of human life as we know it. Do you also believe that humanity is going to perish because of homosexuality?
Once again, this is not on the agenda of the Minister of Foreign Affairs. And I do not...
Are you a politician still?
And I do not participate in any international meeting which is discussing the right of homosexuals.
This is an international issue, as you know, and there are a lot of meetings, also with foreign ministers, who are speaking about the right of minorities, also about gender minorities.
I haven't participated in any meetings to discuss.
So let's start. What is the view of an important Polish politician? You don't have a view on that?
I don't have to discuss this because, this, as I said, this is not my prerogative to discuss this issue.
Okay. It's very interesting. There's also a very intense debate about abortion going on right in Poland. So far, there have been 3 exceptions. The woman's life or child's life are endangered, or the woman was raped. The church is pushing for a complete ban, no exceptions. Are you also of the opinion that the law should be no abortions, no exceptions?
Once again, I never participated in any discussion of the foreign ministers to discuss abortion law.
I have a question. Are you still member of parliament?
Yes, I am.
Okay, so you are a member of parliament, you are a member of the party. No public opinions about that?
Foreign issues. I'm a Minister of Foreign Affairs.
Interesting. Minister, press freedom. Your government is in trouble with the EU over press freedoms. According to your new media law, this is an international issue? Press media? Yes, I think so.
No.
No?
No.
Also not, but you are in a debate with the European Union.
Not on the media law.
Not on the media law? You want to speak about media law?
No, because this is not on the agenda of the Minister of Foreign Affairs.
It's not, but one EU commissioner, a German, Günther Oettinger, talked of an infringement of common European values and said, many reasons exist for us to activate the rule of law mechanism and for us to place Warsaw under monitoring. Is it a question for a foreign minister?
No, he didn't address any letter to me. He addressed the letter to the Minister of Justice. And they are engaged in the exchange of correspondence.
But are you negotiating with your colleagues about this question?
That was the question which was not on the international agenda of our discussion with the European Union.
Okay, then again, let me quote your party leader. The problem, I don't know if it's a problem, but you're still a party member and a member of parliament, Mr. Kaczynski, who has referred to critics of the party as a part of horrid tradition of national treason. adding that some people have treason in their genes, that they are people of the worst kind. Are all your critics simply traitors?
Can we come back to the foreign issues? Because this is a totally domestic issue. That's it.
Okay, now I try the next point,
Yes.
Rule of law. I'd like to discuss your relationship with the law. Your government has controversially dismissed constitutional judges and appointed others. One member of parliament and an ally of yours in the Constitutional Court debates, Colonel Morawiecki, said, "The law is important, but law is not sacred. The good of the nation is above it. The good of the nation is above the law." Is this also your policy?
Again, you're quoting the internal debate in the Polish parliament. As a foreign minister, I'm engaged in the relationship directly with Venice Commission and with Commissioner Timmermans. I invited Venice Commission some months ago to investigate the situation in Poland, the rule of law. The general opinion of the Commission is that this is a political debate. It's supposed to be solved in a political debate or by political debate.
The Venice Commission condemned Poland.
Could you give me the chance to answer at least one question?
Even two.
Okay, so let's
But I'm
let's
happy
start
that
with
you're
first.
answering now questions.
So let's start, because I see you that you're trying to provoke me. No, I will continue this discussion. So, the Venice Commission created opinion that this is a political question for political debate in Poland. We accepted this opinion. As a government, we sent this opinion to Parliament, to the Speaker of the Parliament. And Speaker of the Parliament created political process. First, he created a separate committee to discuss the legal aspects of these problems, created by legal experts, and also created or started the process of political debate, inviting all the leaders from the parliamentary groups, but also from the non-parliamentary parties, to debate. I had also the same debate with Mr. Timmermans, who was here in Poland a week ago, and the conclusion was the same. This is political process, so why don't you engage the political debate to solve the problem? That's the process.
Then I want to quote you with your permission. In a recent interview, when you were asked what your government is infringing on judicial independence and media freedom, your response was, "We only want to cure our country of a few diseases." Oh, here's back, diseases. What illnesses are you talking about? This is your quote.
Yes, of course, and I'll gladly explain. I was referring to the fixing and mending the public media, because for a number of years public media were taken almost by one political option. And in the public media the opposition was sometimes marginalized, and the discourse was limited in the public media only to those journalists and those commentators who sympathize with the former government. So we are just changing a little bit the status of the media, the ownership of the media, in a French way, because we are trying to make them a French style, and expand the discourse. So the media are supposed to invite journalists and politicians from all political options.
The director of the public television is depending from the government. It's the treasurer.
Just like in many. Just like in many European countries.
No, I don't know that from Germany. I don't know that from Great Britain.
Yeah?
This is something very specific, that you are a director who is appointed by the government. Where is there still the independence of the press?
Public media are not independent.
What are public media? A media for propaganda of the government?
They are owned by the state. They are owned by the state. So,
but does it mean that the state is saying what in the media has to be and not?
No, and as I said, in the media, in the open discussions, you can see, you can watch the journalists coming from all kinds of directions. And this change of the law didn't touch upon the private media. The private media are totally independent.
Let me quote again. "We only want to cure our country of a few diseases." Can you explain me what such a picture has any connection with law or journalists or free press?
I already explained. We are not touching the free press. We are not touching the free media and in the private media. We are just trying to change a little bit the situation of the public media by expanding the discourse in the media.
Mr. Waszczykowski, thank you very much to
You are most
being
welcome.
in conflict zone. Thank you.